following opinions are solely those of BoatTEST.com and its test captain.
Hi, Captain Steve for BoatTEST.com, and today I'm going to conduct a performance evaluation and sea trial on the all-new Grand Banks 54. This is an ideal owner-operator's boat, and it's available with two propulsion systems, either IPS or straight shafts. Our test boat is going to be straight shafts with Volvo-Penta D11 725 horsepower engines. Let's get her underway and see how she does. Engine room and Lazarette access, obviously, right here in the cockpit. Very convenient. It's a large hatch, and I also like that there is a grab handle on the inside of the hatch. Now, once we're down below, plenty of space to work around. Plenty of room in the back, 4 feet 3 inches of overhead clearance. There are access panels, 4 of them to both sides, to the outboard side of the Lazarette, and that gives you access to mechanical components and certainly plenty of more storage. Teak decking all around, remote battery switches. Of course, there are also switches at the helm. And I can see all the steering gear in the back, stern thruster, the hydraulic components, battery for the stern thruster. And it's nice to see that there are rails around everything, and there are clevis pins on all of the rails, so very movable along with these stairs. Now, just forward, raw water strainer for the air conditioning system, and right in the center is the door to the engine room. Let's take a look in there. Well, there's certainly a lot to like in this engine room. First of all, twin D11 Volvo-Penta 725 horsepower main engines. The exhausts go back and out to the side area of the Lazarette that we showed you earlier, and there are exhaust and water separators, so we're a good neighbor at the marina. 5 feet of overhead clearance, and I can't help but notice that there is sound reduction all the way around this engine room, so it should make for a quiet ride. A couple of interesting points. Humphrey stabilizer fins over to both sides. Raycor filters to the forward bulkhead. I'd like to see double with a crossover, but that is offered as an option. Very happy to see that there's a sight tube in the middle of the fuel tank. Generator strainer is over to the other side. Generator's right in the middle, 15 kW Fisher Panda. Main batteries are to the outboard sides of the engine. Right in the center, we've got the battery for the generator. Just behind are raw water strainers, and here's an interesting feature. Notice that the through holes are in little pans so they contain the water, but they don't go all the way down to the deck, so that water will run into the bilge. But more importantly, it keeps it contained into this area. Nice touch. There are vibration reducing engine mounts all the way around, and just at the aft bulkhead, an oil change system. Now, it's very important to notice that the engines are still very far forward on this boat. Looks like just behind the midship line of the boat. And that's important because it gives the boat a lot of balance. They don't move the engines back just to create another stateroom. And even if you had IPS, they wouldn't do that. You would just have long jack shafts running back to the propulsion system. So that balance gives us a much better ride and a more level ride when you're accelerating. We'll check the effects of that once we get underway. Right at the gate to the swim platform is a 50 amp shore power cord on an electric reel. Both quarters 12-inch cleats with stainless steel, highly polished chocks, and look at this for a thoughtful touch. There's a little drain right there so water will run overboard instead of staying in this pocket. The 54 has a symmetrical layout, so both side decks start at 15 inches and increase to 18 inches as we continue forward. Side boarding gates to both sides, and I like how the rail opens up easily enough with just a spring-loaded latch. You don't have to get it into a particular position. Protection overhead 7 feet, and that comes out 22 inches, and there are lights that come all the way forward. 3 steps with courtesy lights. Continue us forward. There's a 12-inch midship cleat, and then fully forward, we come to the working end of the bow. Now, on top of the trunk cabin, there's open space. There's an option for putting a sun pad on there, and that will flip up into a chaise lounge position. But more importantly, at the foredeck, this is where the ground tackle is located, and it's on an elevated platform. The ground tackle itself is in a recess, so we're not getting any dirt or grime in the area. Muir windlass, all chain rode leading out to an ultra anchor that's recessed into the deck. 12-inch cleats to both sides, and there are controls to the right-hand side. That's one of 3 controls. We also have one at the lower helm and the upper helm. Now, just behind, take a look at this. Easy access to the road locker. There's a gas support strut holding it open. Plenty of storage space inside for huge fenders and lines. There's a freshwater washdown. Easy access to the road locker. We can see the all-chain road. And I'd like to see a grab handle underneath here so that we can hang the dock lines onto it. Rails at this area top out at 29 inches and up in the forward area, 24. Of course, there's a helm up in the Flybridge deck, which is accessed from stairs to the starboard side of the aft deck here. Let's take a look. The Flying Bridge helm is center mounted. The console starts with a compass mounted directly in line with the wheel. Carbon fiber panel houses two 17-inch multifunction displays. Autopilot is right in the center. Bow and stern thrusters. Humphrey trim tab control is integrated with the stabilizer controls. Electrical switches, windlass control, and then the digital throttle and shift. Right in the center, a beautifully finished, vertically mounted 20-inch wheel. Just behind are two Stid helm seats. They're both standard. They swivel, slide, recline, have flip armrests, and flip footrests. There is a significant comfort level here. Looking at the panel though, the only thing I'd like to see, someplace to put my water. The main deck helm is located just ahead of the double wide helm seat that's on an island, so we can walk around all sides of it. Notice that there's a flip-up bolster, and that makes it very convenient for standing behind the helm, which gives us 6 feet 6 inches of overhead clearance. Just alongside is the observer station that is up a 10-inch step. Now, as for the helm itself, I have to say this is really a very functional helm. I see a lot of boats where the lower helm is kind of put in as an afterthought. Not so in the case of the 54. This one has twin 17-inch displays, compass not quite in line with the helm, it's a little bit offset, Garmin multifunction display, autopilot, spotlight control, bow and stern thrusters. These are electric and they're proportional, plus we can have activation buttons to keep pressure on them to give it a slight hold against the dock for when we're operating short-handed or even single-handed. Humphrey trim tabs. This control also operates in conjunction with the Humphrey stabilizing fins. Volvo Penta EVC display, the ignitions, Muir windlass control, and again the digital throttle and shift. Another beautifully finished wheel mounted vertically. Just to the left of the helm, ship's electrical panel, 12 volt on top, 120 at the bottom, and bilge pump controls over to the left. But my favorite feature by far has to be this opening side door that allows us access to the side deck. Great feature for when we're short-handed or even single-handed, and also the salon windows. There are 3 of them that drop down, so if we do have somebody on the dock, we can talk to them from this lower helm station.
The Grand Banks 54 has a length overall of 59 feet 5 inches, a beam of 17 feet 6 inches, and a draft of 4 feet. With an empty weight of 51,800 pounds, 36% fuel, 60% water, and 4 people on board, we had an estimated test weight of 55,797 pounds. With a pair of 725 horsepower Volvo Penta D11 engines driving our test boat, we reached a top speed of 29 knots at 2450 RPM. There really is no best cruise as the range increases fairly linearly as the RPMs are reduced, but with the speed held back to her minimum plane speed of 11.8 knots and 1250 RPM, she showed a 14 gallon per hour fuel burn, which translated into a range of 680.2 nautical miles. Drop her down a little further to 9.6 knots, and now she's a long-distance cruiser with a range of 1,109.4 nautical miles, all while still holding back a 10% reserve of the boat's 898 gallon total fuel capacity. As we got underway, our tight confines gave me my first good impression of her outstanding low-speed handling characteristics. There's a low-speed clutch, and I definitely recommend that it get used for these situations. Without it, her power and large props have her lurching ahead. Once clear of any docks, then transition to regular power, which gives even better handling characteristics. Don't get heavy-handed on the steering, it's just a light touch. Underway, the dedication to balance is really evident as there's just a slight bow-high attitude when running that I found to be quite comfortable. That keeps the bow down low and allows the sharp entry to do its thing and keep the ride smooth and stable.
From the upper helm, a lot of comfort level going on right here. I like that it's center mounted, so we've got even visibility all around. She's very sensitive to the helm. It's 3 turns from lock to lock and almost too sensitive, but that's a personal taste thing. You can certainly dial it out and change the settings as you want, but this is how it came from the factory, and just a little too sensitive for my taste. She does have great turning characteristics though. The stabilizers will keep her pretty level in the turn as we come around, and I found that at 20 knots, she'll come around 180 degrees in 25 seconds. Now we're flat calm right now, so I really haven't been able to test her ocean-going capabilities or her rough water handling. But that said, crossing our own wakes, I found no pounding, no hull slap, anything like that. And when I did put it into a little bit of a quartering sea, no wandering at all. She stayed nice and straight and true. The lower helm station is so well done that to me it could easily be a primary control station. Now I know that there are some people that are going to want to wrap the Flybridge in isinglass and make that a protected station. This is so well done and so well laid out that I find it negates the need to do something like that. There's such great visibility here. When we're up on plane, the bow's got maybe a 5-degree bow high attitude, but I still have plenty of visibility even up close to the bow. Now as I look forward, there's large window mullions between the 3 front windshields, and I thought that that would be a little bit obtrusive, but honestly, after about 5 minutes of driving this boat, I did not find that to be the case. I don't even notice them anymore. However, that said, I do have the same issue that I had with the Flybridge control station. There's nowhere to put my drink, there's nowhere to put my cell phone. Charging station might be a nice idea as well.
On our return to the dock, we did it first with the starboard side too, so as to show how easy it is to dock and tie this large boat up single-handed thanks to the side access door. Then we backed out, turned her around, and brought her back in for a port side tie-up. Here, while backing, I discovered how easily she handles. I simply used alternative power to provide the steerage, and it worked perfectly. A nudge of bow thruster brought us right alongside, and now it was great to have the drop-down windows to talk to the crew on the far side of the boat. What a nice setup.
Well, now that we've been underway, I can clearly see why Grand Banks spent so much time into the balancing of the boat. There's no high bow rise when you're underway, and that makes it great for operating the boat from down below as well as up above. And that's my full sea trial and performance evaluation on the all-new Grand Banks 54. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.